Greetings to you all, wherever you are, at home or abroad. You're now tuned into TalkSense Media, your voice of reason in the noise. Here we bring you the news that matters to you. Straight talk, clear facts, and honest reasoning, because you deserve to understand what's really going on. Whether it's headlines or what's happening on the streets, if it affects you or your community, we break it down and we talk sense. So let's get into today's story.
I will forever remember this time of my life. The rural school bus system and that dropping center. Those two things are near and dear to me. But the most important thing of my 6 years in this country is the relationship that I have built with the young and the not so young, men, women, and children. My name is called Anmarie by the littlest of voices. When I move around in this parish, in this constituency, it's not an MP moving around. It's them auntie, them granny, them mother, them friend, them sister.
I'm back again, and I will be sharing more with you about the election that has left many people puzzled, and that's the defeat of Ann-Marie Vaz in East Portland. Because if you take a careful look at her track record, at the work that she has done in that constituency, question comes to mind is simple. How could she lose after doing so much in the parish? So everybody knows that Ann-Marie Vaz worked really hard and tirelessly in her division. Roads that were once bumpy nightmares have been repaired. Communities that were neglected finally saw development under her leadership. So let us call some names. Norwich Heights, Ginger House, Bellevue, Seymour Valley, Cornwall Barracks, Millbank, all got better roads, better access, and better infrastructure. So when you take a look at Millbank Road, for example, because of how bad the roads were, a journey that would easily take you 2 hours, today it takes only 40 minutes. The people know this and they are very well aware, yet it's like it didn't matter to them. Or when you take a look at the stretch from Seymour Valley to Bellevue, which was once in terrible condition, that is now beautifully carpeted, smooth, modern roads, which is a clear sign that progress was finally reaching into the hills and the valleys of East Portland. So again, the question comes back and you have to ask, how could she lose after doing all of that? So I made a phone call, and based on the reports I've been receiving, it's not about what Ann-Marie Vaz did or failed to do. She did the work without a shadow of a doubt. She put in the effort and she showed up, but she became a victim of tradition. The fact of the matter is that what happened is that the People's National Party has long held deep roots in many communities across Jamaica, and in East Portland, it's no different. These are generational loyalties passed down from the elders in the family, and it's not just about politics, it is culture, it is history, and they take this on as their identity. What I'm being told is that on election day, the base came out very strong. Elderly especially came out in their numbers, and with them they brought out decades of memories, decades of stories of Mike and Manley, stories of their struggles, stories that painted the JLP as the enemy of the poor. That's their perception that has been long held. And here's the hard truth. Many of these stories have been passed on to the children and grandchildren, creating a kind of cult-like loyalty that is extremely difficult to break. So when election day came, it wasn't about road repairs, it wasn't about infrastructure, it wasn't about track record, it was about tradition. And this is not new. In fact, history gave us some insight as to what was to come. Because back in 2011, Patrick Lee, another candidate who did plenty of work in Portland, faced the same reality because he challenged Linville Bloomfield, and despite his efforts, he lost. Not because he didn't deliver, but because tradition once again outweighed his performance. The loyalty of the PNP came through. So let's fast forward to 2025. Although Ann-Marie Vaz won previously, she fell into the same trap. She did the work, she laid the foundation, but again, tradition beat her. So what this is really saying to us, it tells us that politics in Jamaica, especially in certain strongholds, is not always about policy or progress. It's about memory. It is about identity. It is about tradition. And until that tradition can be broken, candidates like Ann-Marie Vaz will always be judged not by what they deliver, but by the history of their parents and grandparents' voting preference. The party that their parents and grandparents have been loyal to. That's how they're going to vote. Now, I'm not here to say whether or not Portland has made the right choice or the wrong decision. That is for the people to decide. But what I can say is this. When a parish votes based on memory rather than development, the future of that parish can easily be trapped in the past and progress derailed or slowed down. So Anmarie Vaz in many ways is a victim of tradition. And whether we agree or disagree with her politics, we cannot deny that the work that she has done on the ground in East Portland deserves recognition. So here's where the real challenge is for Portland going forward. Will tradition continue to decide the future, or will performance, progress and policy finally take the lead? Because persons, despite knowing how well she worked in the community and despite not knowing exactly what Buchanan was coming with, they still decided to vote against her. And I spoke with that person in Portland, and that's exactly what they confessed to. Person knows of the work being done, have seen the work, drive on the roads, journey that used to take 2 hours now taking 40 minutes. But because family members were aligned to the PNP, he too also voted along those lines. So the problem is, if tradition continues to repeat itself based on what we are seeing, based on what is being unearthed, then it won't matter who sits in Garden House. It won't matter who is sent to Portland East to represent them as a people, because they are more loyal to a particular party than they are loyal to progress and development. It's like policy doesn't really matter. It is who that is being sent from the PNP to represent the party that they will give the vote to. So they are very much stuck and voting along party lines. Yes, in this day and age, 2025, it is still happening. Despite social media presence, despite the level of education that children are being exposed to, that cult-like mentality still obtains, and they are voting along party lines. So what happened is that the PNP base came out in their numbers, and that was the major deciding factor. Them voting along party lines, and not because of progress, not because of development, not because of hard work. That takes backseat to voting along party lines. So that is what happened to Ann-Marie Vaz. If you found value in this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember, this is TalkSense Media, your voice of reason in the noise.